Nothing is coincidental. In a quiet mountain village, where pine trees whispered secrets to the wind, lived a young man named Haru. He often wondered why things happened the way they did. Was it all chance? Or was there an invisible thread connecting every event in his life? One day, while walking home from the river, he stumbled upon a shining stone lying on the path. He paid it little attention and left it by the side. Later that afternoon, an elderly Zen master called him. "Haru, do you think finding that stone was a coincidence?" The master asked with a calm smile. Haru was surprised. "How do you know I saw it?" In Zen, the master replied, "We learn that nothing is coincidental. Every encounter, every word, every silence has a hidden meaning. What seems like an accident is really a lesson." That night, Haru couldn't sleep. He felt life speaking to him through little details he had once ignored. The song of a bird at dawn, leaves falling right in his path, even the creaking of the wooden floor in his home during the cold. The next morning, Haru brought the shining stone to the temple. The master studied it carefully and said, "Do you know why it shone for you and not for someone else?" "Because I was walking by," Haru replied, confused. The master smiled. "Because the stone and you had an appointment." In Zen, we understand that life constantly gives us signs, but only those who are awake notice them. Haru held the stone in his hands and began recalling other moments. When a heavy rain forced him to take shelter under a tree, where he met a traveler who later became his friend. When a closed door led him to a different path where he discovered a hidden garden. "So, luck doesn't exist?" Haru asked. "It exists as attention," corrected the master. "What you call luck or chance is the invisible dance of existence. There are no coincidences, only messages waiting to be heard." Haru felt something deep awakening within him. He realized that every event, whether pleasant or painful, could be a teacher in disguise. In the following days, Haru began walking through the village with a different gaze, as if every corner held a lesson. He noticed that when his mind was calm, everything seemed to speak to him. The smoke rising straight from a chimney, the dog always sleeping in front of the blacksmith's shop, even the water in the stream that changed course after a storm. One morning, while gathering firewood in the forest, he heard a strange crack. He stopped and saw a branch fall right where he was about to step. Was this coincidence or a warning? He wondered. Later, back at the temple, he told the master what had happened. The master nodded. "The forest teaches too. Sometimes it stops us to protect us. Sometimes it shows us we must pay attention." "And what if I hadn't noticed it?" Haru asked. "Life would have found another way to speak to you." The master touched the shining stone Haru wore around his neck. "This stone was your first call. Now you know that there are no small signs." Haru began feeling gratitude for every moment, even for those he would have once considered insignificant. Every glance, every word, every silence seemed part of the same invisible fabric. One evening, Haru helped repair the temple roof when a flock of birds crossed the sky, forming a perfect pattern. He stopped to watch, mesmerized by the natural choreography. "Do you see those birds?" The master said beside him. "They don't fly together by accident. Each follows an invisible order that keeps the flock safe and united." Haru nodded. "So life works the same way?" "Exactly," the master replied. "Life weaves threads that connect moments, people, and places. What seems accidental is part of a larger design that only reveals itself when you learn to look with your heart." That night, as Haru lit an oil lamp, he remembered the day he had gotten lost and found the temple for the first time. He had thought it was a mistake. Now he understood it had been an invitation. He felt that the air was filled with messages, and that his task was not to decipher them all but to walk with trust, knowing every step had been placed for a reason. One rainy morning, Haru went out to gather medicinal herbs. The path was slippery, and he slipped and fell to the ground. As he looked at the spot where he had fallen, he noticed a tiny bamboo shoot growing between the stones. Back at the temple, he told the master, "Today I fell, but I discovered something beautiful." The master smiled. The bamboo teaches us that life can grow from even the hardest, roughest ground. Was your fall an accident or an invitation to look more closely? Haru began to understand. Not only major events carried meaning, even stumbles and delays could bring hidden gifts. Later that afternoon, as he helped other monks prepare tea, he heard the master repeat, "Everything happens at the right time, neither sooner nor later." When you learn to trust, you stop fighting life and start flowing with it. Haru held the shining stone around his neck and thought, perhaps the stone, the birds, the branch, even my fall were all connected. Weeks passed, and Haru noticed his steps becoming slower and more mindful. He no longer rushed anywhere. Every corner of the path was itself a destination. One day, while helping an elderly farmer carry buckets of water, the man said, "Thank you for stopping. If you hadn't come just now, I wouldn't have managed these buckets." Haru smiled. Before, he might have thought, what a coincidence. But now he understood that it was no coincidence at all. Later, back at the temple, the master said, "When your heart is open, you attract the encounters you need and help others when they need it." Haru remembered years ago when a stranger had helped him cross a swollen river. He never saw the man again, but now he understood. Someone had been placed there for him, just as he was placed for that elderly farmer. Every day confirmed the teaching. Life is like a tapestry, and every thread has its place. Even if one cannot see the full pattern, one can trust it exists. At sunrise, the master called Haru to join him on the hilltop. They climbed in silence, the valley below shrouded in a gentle mist. When they reached the top, the master pointed to the horizon. "Do you see the sun?" he asked. "Even when we don't see it at night, it's always there. The invisible threads of your life work the same way. You may not see them, but they hold you." Haru held these words in his heart. At that moment, a white butterfly landed on his shoulder. "Does this have meaning too?" he asked. The master nodded. "Nothing comes to you by accident. The butterfly doesn't know why it chose you, and you don't know why it came. But both of you were meant to meet, if only for an instant." Haru felt a deep peace. He began to understand that he didn't need to decipher every sign. It was enough to be present, accept, and trust. As they descended the hill, Haru thought of all the people and events in his life. He no longer saw them as accidents, but as hidden gifts, essential for his path. Days later, as Haru swept the temple courtyard, the master approached and asked, "Haru, what have you learned from all these encounters?" Haru set down the broom and replied calmly, "I've learned that nothing is coincidental. Every person, every word, every silence is like a drop feeding the river of my life. Even if I can't see where it flows, I trust it has a purpose." The master nodded with a gentle smile. "When you understand this, your heart stops struggling. You see beauty even in difficulty, because you know everything is placed to help you awaken." That night, Haru gazed at the starry sky and felt he was not alone. Every star, every whisper of the wind, every memory formed part of the same pattern. And for the first time, instead of asking why, he simply felt gratitude. The shining stone still hung around his neck, but now Haru saw it not as a mystery to solve, but as a reminder. Life makes no mistakes. You only need to learn to listen,